Mining is the backbone of the Yukon's economy. But some of the territory's minerals legislation dates back to the gold rush era, and First Nations say it's time for an update.
It's high time that the Yukon updated its minerals regime into the 21st century.
Cue the new Minerals Draft Framework Agreement, which aims to recognize and respect Aboriginal treaty rights. The framework isn't a law, but is meant to outline the groundwork for an eventual bill. That includes things like First Nations providing written consent before the government can issue mineral rights on settlement land. But White River First Nation feels the framework marginalizes unceded First Nations like itself.
There's provisions for consent on Category B settlement lands, but nothing, no corresponding provisions for unceded First Nations.
White River says not helping matters is the fact that the government released the framework, which is currently embargoed, to a local media outlet through an access to information request. While the government says the release was an accident, White River says First Nations should have been consulted before considering the outlet's request.
I think that was a major error, to say the least, on YG's part.
Any new mining legislation is still a long ways off, and with the territorial election expected to be called in the coming weeks, it will be up to the next government to advance the work. White River believes stronger guarantees surrounding consent and decision-making powers need to be included.
I think we can definitely move it more in that direction than what the current draft framework is contemplating.
The Yukon government said in a statement it deeply regrets releasing the draft framework, and it plans to reach out to First Nations to find a path forward. It also says that as the election approaches, it recognizes that First Nations will consider whether or not to move forward with the draft framework, and it respects that conversations will continue with the next territorial government. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.